People know Jesus was born without a father, but almost no one understands the shocking reason Islam gives for it. This explanation stops people in their tracks because it doesn't just challenge what you think, it forces you to rethink everything you believe about miracles, creation, and purpose. Alright, so hear me out on this, because most people think they already know this story. Virgin birth, miracle, end of conversation. But when you actually look into how Islam describes Jesus, Isa in Arabic, it's wild. It's not some cheap retelling or remix of Christianity. It's a completely different angle. And in some ways, it's even more mentally confrontational. Not softer, not more comforting, more direct, more unsettling. In Islam, Jesus isn't God. He's not the son of God in a biological sense. He's a prophet, but not just any prophet. He's born from a virgin. He heals the blind, raises the dead, speaks as a baby. He does outrageous, impossible things. So then the question hits you like a brick. Why would God give a regular man divine-level miracles? And that's where Islam starts pushing back on your brain. The Quran doesn't say Jesus was born without a father so he could be worshipped. It says something way crazier. It basically says Jesus was born without a father to prove a much bigger point, that God doesn't need systems, processes, or biology to create anything. The virgin birth isn't about elevating Jesus above humanity. It's about confronting humanity itself. Think about that. Islam puts Jesus in a category, not separate from humanity, but as a mirror for humanity. The message isn't worship him. The message is, look how creation really works. You think life can only happen one way? Wrong. You think biology runs the universe? Wrong. You think patterns control reality? Wrong. God breaks the pattern whenever he wants, and that's uncomfortable as hell because we love patterns. We love predictability. We love rules. We love the idea that if you understand the system, you control your destiny. Islam just comes in and goes, yeah, no, you don't control anything. You're standing on a chessboard you didn't design. Now, here's the part that really messes people up. Islam compares Jesus to Adam. In the Quran, it says something like the example of Jesus is like the example of Adam. God created Adam with no father and no mother. So why is Jesus shocking? Translation, you're emotionally selective with your logic. Adam had no parents at all, yet he's not worshipped. Jesus had one parent, and suddenly he is? It's brutal. It exposes how emotional belief can be, how people build philosophies. More on feeling than consistency. Islam doesn't deny the miracle. It amplifies it, but it refuses to let the miracle become the destination. The miracle is the sign, not the throne. And that's where the Islamic explanation gets really intense. In Islam, the virgin birth isn't meant to turn Jesus into a god. It's meant to turn your ego into dust. It's meant to tell you existence doesn't need your permission. The universe doesn't need your understanding. Reality doesn't care if you approve. God creates however he wants, period. And sit with that for a second. Because as modern people, we're addicted to explanation. We don't like mystery. We don't like not knowing. We're wired to believe once we explain something, we control it. Islam doesn't do that with Jesus. It doesn't say, here's the biology of angels. It doesn't say, here's the physics of divine breath. It says, God said be, and he was, which sounds poetic until you realize what it's implying. It's implying that creation is not mechanical. First, it's will first, intention first, command first, and then matter obeys, and that wrecks materialism. That totally ruins the idea that the universe is just some dumb accident with sparks flying around until monkeys invented anxiety. Islam places will above particles, command above chemistry, meaning above matter, and Jesus is the proof drop. He's the glitch in the system, not a glitch that breaks the system, a glitch that shows you the system was never in control to begin with. Now here's the part nobody talks about. In Islam, Mary isn't portrayed as passive. She's not a decorative miracle machine. She's terrified. She's alone. She's confused. She asks a dangerous question, how can I have a child when no man has touched me? And the answer isn't soft. It's not emotional. It's not sentimental. It's absolute. God creates what he wills. That's it. No reassurance. No technical explanation. Just reality as command. And imagine being told that when your entire culture thinks pregnancy without marriage is shame. Imagine being told that when you know society is going to tear you apart. Islam doesn't sugarcoat this. Mary suffers socially. People accuse her, they whisper. They judge. They mock. And then the story flips into something shocking. Baby Jesus speaks from the cradle. He literally defends his mother as an infant. Now let that sink in. A newborn shutting people down verbally, that's not just a miracle, that's a message. The first public act of Jesus in Islam isn't healing, It's truth-telling, it's defense of dignity. He doesn't say, I am God, he says, I am the servant of God. And that line alone is like a philosophical grenade, because Islam doesn't elevate Jesus by making him divine. It elevates him by showing how close a human being can get to God without becoming God. That distinction is everything, because what it says is, you don't become powerful by being worshipped. You become powerful by submitting, and that flies directly in the face of how we're wired. We want power, we crave recognition, we chase authority. Islam says the highest status isn't ruling, it's surrendering. And Jesus embodies that. He lives simple, he sleeps on the ground, he owns nothing. He heals everyone, he demands nothing, no money, no throne, no army, no legacy building, just truth, raw truth. And in Islam, he doesn't die on the cross. That's another mind bender. He's taken up, saved, lifted out of it. And the people who thought they killed him were mistaken. Again, Islam refuses to let human hands control a divine story. There's always something larger happening behind the curtain. You think the ending is death. Islam says the ending isn't here yet. Jesus comes back, not to start Christianity 2.0, not to rule churches, not to build a mega brand. He comes back to destroy false gods, including himself if necessary. And that part is insane. The idea that Jesus returns not to be worshipped, but to correct worship, to break symbols, to kill the illusion. That's not a comforting Messiah. That's a dangerous one. That's a truth enforcer. That's not love tested by feelings. That's love tested by surrender. And that's why the virgin birth matters so much in Islam, because it sets the tone. It tells you from sentence one, this story is not about genetics. It's about authority. It's not about a special man. It's about an unstoppable creator. And people don't like that. We like God when he's soft. We panic when he's sovereign. We like spirituality when it's inspirational. We resist it when it's absolute. And Islam is absolute at its core. It doesn't give you mystery to decorate your ego. It gives you mystery to crush it. Now, you don't have to agree with Islam. You don't have to convert. You don't have to change your whole belief system. But if you're an honest person, if you actually care about truth, you have to admit this. This isn't a shallow story. This isn't borrowed mythology. This is a philosophical nuclear warhead. It challenges Christianity. It challenges atheism. It challenges ego. It challenges culture. It challenges comfort, because it doesn't ask, do you believe? It asks, do you submit? And that's a totally different question. Belief is mental. Submission is existential. Belief is easy. Submission hurts. And Jesus in Islam is the proof that surrender outpowers status, that obedience outweighs identity, that closeness to God isn't about who you are. It's about who you're willing to not be. And man, that's heavy. That's not a bedtime religious story. That's a psychological earthquake. That's a reset button for how you view power, humility, and what a miracle even means. Because Islam doesn't say a miracle is a display. It says a miracle is a disruption. It's supposed to shake you. It's supposed to disturb your assumptions. It's supposed to insult your ego. So if you ever wondered why Islam doesn't just casually mention the virgin birth the way people expect, now you know it's not the climax, it's the challenge, and it asks something no other birth story dares to. If God doesn't need a father to create Jesus, what makes you think he needs your permission to control your life? That's the real shock. Not that a woman gave birth without a man, but that a human being exists at all without owning a single breath. And Jesus' birth in Islam is the universe whispering, you don't run this, and deep down, that's the part people feel, even when they don't say it out loud.